Hello, welcome to Brits American Tour. We're here today with the worst winters the US have seen at Christmas, I think. So the worst American winter storms of Christmas past that resulted in a considerable white Christmas, apparently.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Not
White
many
Christmas
here.
is over here. No, I
I don't
mean,
think there's been
up in
any.
the northern regions, they generally get snow.
Yeah,
But I mean, but there's always that big thing. Will we have snow at Christmas? We get it. We all moan about it anyway. So I don't know what the problem
we
is.
do. I don't.
Um,
In fact, it would cause utter carnage if we had snow on Christmas Day, because
yeah,
it'd be,
because
oh,
everybody's
no one can get anywhere. No Christmas meals haven't been eaten, and all this
yeah.
malarkey. So
That's it.
get it.
Total misery. Because I mean, we get a couple of snow flurries that the country grinds to a halt. So
It's
let's
true.
look at some proper storms at Christmas, eh? With
Yeah.
who's doing this for us? Who's bringing us this
This
one?
is Weatherbox Studios.
Okay.
I'm not sure who this young man is, but let's find out, and let's find out how bad they get it in the US.
Steve
Yeah,
here,
let's
welcome back to Weatherbox.
Steve.
And today, in honor of the holiday season, it's gonna get a little cold.
Yeah, looking a lot
The odds
wintry
of
than
having
ours.
a white Christmas vary wildly across North America, and everywhere you look, the data used to create maps such as this one is inconsistent at best. While it's true that you have less than a 5% chance of seeing snow on
84,
Christmas in
89.
Corpus Christi, it's not a guarantee that you won't. And with cyclical climatic factors such as La Nina, it does occasionally happen. Today we're going to look at some of the worst historical winter storms in the US that resulted in a considerably white Christmas. Now, this is not a comprehensive list.
Yeah.
I have 7 diverse snowstorms here for you today, and if you think I missed an important one, be sure to share it with us in the comments below. First is the
Okay.
Denver snowstorm of 1982. Denver gets a modest
Year I was
amount of
born.
snow each year, about 55 inches total.
That's
Most
why.
of it actually falls
Okay.
in the months of March and April, but their snowfalls are usually
Okay.
much smaller amounts spread over a period of about 6 months. When you look at Denver geographically, it's a very interesting feat that a major snowstorm could occur there.
I was gonna
It's
say,
located on
yeah,
the
it's a bit-
leeward side of the Rocky
yeah.
Mountains, which is significant. Westerly winds from the Pacific Ocean flow up and over the Rockies, and the moisture leaves the air as rain and snow on the western side. This creates what is known as a rain shadow on the eastern side, which is where Denver is located. So in order to
Right.
have a lot of snowdrop on Denver in a short period of time, you need winds to blow out of the east. This can happen one of 2 ways. The flow of air around high pressure systems is clockwise, while the flow around low pressure systems is counterclockwise. So if there is a high pressure system to the north or a low pressure system to the south, winds will be blowing out of the east. The next ingredient is moisture
Right.
that can condense and freeze into snow as the air moves up the mountainside. This is where the low pressure system has the advantage. The general weather pattern that causes this involves moisture surging north from the Gulf over the Great Plains. Then, due to the warm Gulf air clashing with cold, dry Rocky Mountain air, a mid-latitude cyclone can spin up on the border, which moves that moist air counterclockwise around the low center. This moist air meets the cool air to
He
the
knows
north,
his weather,
condenses
doesn't he?
as it rises up the mountain, and dumps feet of snow in the Denver metro. This is exactly what happened Christmas Eve 1982. What was forecasted to just be a couple inches of snow ended up as 2 feet of accumulation,
Oh
with
my
snowfall
God.
rates of 2
Look
to
at
3
that,
inches
mate.
per hour on Christmas Eve. The wind chill caused by 50-mile-an-hour straight-line winds sat at negative 35 degrees.
wow.
Holiday travelers by the thousands were stranded at the airport for the
Jesus.
entire day
Yeah.
as 10-foot
Yeah.
snowdrifts made travel around the
Carnage.
metro
Oh,
impossible.
that's
As
the airport.
unexpectedly devastating as it was, there were many stories of strangers who were stranded who came together to help each other get
Yeah.
back home on Christmas Day. So you see what can happen when a strong mid-latitude cyclone forms to the south of Denver in the middle of winter. But the mid-latitude
using some
cyclone
long
is on
words,
a
isn't he?
mission, and that mission is to get across the continental US. So, as you can guess, it causes a lot of problems for people in its path, particularly on that northwestern side. A prime example of this is the winter storm of late December 2004. Throughout
Ooh.
these 4 days, 2 major weather systems collided to wreak havoc on the Ohio River Valley. First, you had a swath
Wow, this
of
is what
Arctic
happens when
air
you
that
get
was
2 of them.
descending upon the
Okay,
Midwest
yeah.
from Canada. At the leading edge of this air mass, heavy snow fell in Minnesota and Wisconsin. But that pesky surface low of the same variety that caused the snow in Denver had developed over Texas. This thing flew to the east in 48 hours, gaining strength as it ingested moisture from the Gulf. That moisture was ultimately forced upward over the Arctic air, condensing into a giant diagonal line of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, a winter slurry that piled upon Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois over the course of 2 days. While Medora, Indiana saw a record 39 inches of snowfall, Ohio was decimated due to the ice. 678,000 residents across the state lost power, mainly in Columbus. The Woodland Meadows subdivision, which was one of the largest apartment complexes in the United States for government-subsidized tenants, was hit the hardest. Affecting over 1,000 residents, the power was cut for multiple days, the boiler system failed, pipes froze and burst, and basements were flooded. None of this was ever repaired, and a few years later, the city voted to demolish the deteriorating 122 buildings. For those not living in the apartment complex, travel was impossible due to the mixture of snow and ice, and hundreds of flights were canceled. Interstates I-65, 70, 71, and 74 were closed for over 12 hours, and hundreds of motorists were stranded on I-64 in Indiana for over 24 hours. The storm resulted in $900 million in damage and 17 deaths. So far, we have seen an instance of a surface low developing in Denver as well as in central Texas. But how far south can these things bring snowfall? Could it happen in Houston literally the day after the snowstorm we just talked about? Yeah, 2004 was wild, apparently. After the low-pressure system exited Ohio, Arctic air spilled southward across the entire U.S. east of the Rockies. On Christmas Eve, temperatures were only in the mid-30s across central Texas, with the edge of the Arctic front sitting over Houston. And just south of that front, a surface low developed near San Fernando, Mexico, moving into the Gulf of Mexico. The temperatures were cold enough on that northern side that considerable snow was able to develop on Christmas Eve, dropping 4 inches of snow in Corpus Christi and a whopping foot of snow in Victoria. It was the first white Christmas ever for this area. Now, of course, all that snow melted within 48 hours because as that Arctic air lifted, that warm Gulf air came surging back. But what an incredible Christmas that must have been for southern Texans. Now, you probably have noticed a pattern here. These surface lows like to spin up along temperature boundaries on the southeastern side of a trough of cold air. Another place where low pressure systems like to develop is the Atlantic Ocean. Hell, that's what a hurricane is after all, just a very intense one. So picture this. A historic blast of cold air descends southeastward from Canada, covering the Great Lakes, the Deep South, and the Mid-Atlantic. What would happen if a surface low developed over the Atlantic, moved northward up the coast right up against the cold air? If you guess the largest snowstorm to ever occur in the southeastern United States, then you're probably familiar with the Christmas coastal snowstorm of 1989. The wave of cold air that covered the southeast was so potent that low temperature records were shattered. Houston Airport measured 7 degrees, High Springs, Florida measured 8 degrees, Wilmington, North Carolina measured 7 degrees, even Key West hit 44 degrees. The cold wave devastated the vast majority of citrus crops across the southeast and even damaged agriculture in Mexico's Rio Grande Valley. Over the course of 2 days, 18 inches of snow fell in Wilmington, North Carolina, 8 inches in Charleston, South Carolina, 4 inches in Savannah, Georgia, and even flurries were spotted in Tampa, Florida. Lake Waccamaw to the east of Wilmington had actually frozen over, which was only the second time in the entire 20th century for that to happen. Now, this storm was technically a nor'easter, which is what they call a winter storm in New England that involves wind blowing out of the northeast. It does this because the wind blows counterclockwise in low pressure systems, and when they ride up the Atlantic coast, the snow and moisture blow out of the northeast. Nor'easters can get bad, like all-time historic bad. Due to the relatively warm temperature of the Atlantic Ocean in close proximity to cold land, these systems can get very intense. One historic nor'easter that occurred around Christmas was in December of 1969. To add another layer of complexity, the system started off as a surface low that spun up on the border of warm and cold air in Texas, traveled 1,200 miles across the US in 24 hours, and once it hit the Atlantic Ocean, it turned northward and became a nor'easter. It picked up a ton of moisture along the way, creating an environment of intense instability, even dropping a few dozen tornadoes in the Deep South. But by the time it reached New Jersey, it stalled out, and that was bad news for New England. Upstate New York, mainly the Adirondacks and Vermont, saw over 30 inches of snow, Montreal saw
right,
27,
it's the full-
and everywhere
full
else
front
saw
of that.
between 10 and 20
Yeah.
inches.
For,
Snowdrifts were as high as 30
front.
feet in some cities.
30
Boston,
foot high.
close to the low center, received 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts. The entire eastern half of the New York Thruway was closed.
They don't just get snow. Don't just
No.
snow, does it?
No.
It's snow, it's wind, it's a
Yeah.
storm.
It's everything. Yeah.
You know, it's not
Not
just a
that-
cloud that's got...
Oh, you know, that romantic thing you see on the movies. Oh, look, it's snowing. Oh, lovely.
it's nice and
then there's all the
fluffy.
crap afterwards, isn't it? When it turns to slush.
Slush, it's the
I'd
ice.
say the best bit is when it comes and then disappears. You know.
Snow's not too bad, is it? You
Yeah.
can sort of deal with snow. It's when it gets compact and then
Yeah.
the next night comes and it all
Yeah.
freezes and the next
Yeah.
day
Carnage.
is carnage. Yeah, that's always a problem when you get that freeze. It's not so bad when it's you got your cloud cover and you got your snow and you got that environment, but as soon as you're clear skies and you got that freeze, killer. But yeah, I just wanted to say it's never just, you know, like you say, the Channel 5 Christmas movie, is it? It's literally the worst case.
Well, the worst
on the
case
27th
scenario
deemed
ever.
impassable.
just give you
What
some
may
snow
have been
and wind.
worse than the snow is the ice. Over 2 inches of ice accumulated on roofs, power lines, trees, and cars in Vermont.
the
And the
power
thing
lines
about
were
ice,
down.
it's a lot
Down.
heavier
Wow.
and denser than snow. Dozens of homes, industrial warehouses, and barns suffered collapsed roofs, killing several people and livestock. It was reported that this layer of ice stayed on surfaces for an entire month. While New York City escaped the brunt of this particular nor'easter, they're in no way immune to winter storms. Such is the case for the Great Blizzard of 1947.
Look at
Because
that.
most weather systems in the US move from west to east, the Weather Bureau at the time had a system in place to identify and forecast weather systems that would strike New York from the west. So when an area of
Right.
low pressure developed over the Atlantic Ocean and moved west towards the city, it took everyone by surprise. What was forecasted to be a cold day with flurries ended up as a non-stop intense snowfall with rates up to 3 inches an hour. These were huge snowflake clusters too, which meant one of
Look
two
at that.
things. One, the temperature above the ground was near freezing, and 2, there was very little wind. This wasn't like the 1969 nor'easter. It was a very peaceful yet heavy, crippling
Dump.
snowfall.
Yeah.
Snowplows were
Yeah.
not ready to go, and as a result, the 26 inches of snow that had fallen by the end of the day, December 26th, had
At least you got them
stopped New
machines.
York City.
We don't have
Across
them
the way
machines.
in
We
New
don't
Jersey, it set the all-time record for most snowfall within a 24-hour period with 29.7 inches of accumulation. It's
Wow.
estimated that the unexpected snowfall was responsible for 77 deaths. We've covered snowstorms from mid-latitude cyclones and nor'easters, but there's one more important type of snowstorm specific to one area of the country: lake effect snow. I made a full video about lake effect snow a long time ago. Link is up here if you want to watch it. But November and December are usually the time when lake effect snow is at its peak. The Great Lakes are
Lake
still
effect.
relatively warm and unfrozen, and they can inject a lot of moisture into that dry, cold air, causing constant snowfall on the lee side of the Great Lakes. Buffalo
Oh,
just so
okay.
happens to be in the exact spot where lake effect snow is maximized from westerly winds, and this can
Right.
result in catastrophic multi-day snow events. This particular event was caused by a surface low that developed in northern Colorado and moved eastward on a trajectory that caused the Arctic air to blow at the exact angle of the major axis of Lake Erie. So in other words, directly parallel to the length of the lake, funneling the moistened air into Buffalo and causing 5 days of nonstop snow. By the end of the day on December 28th,
Oh, mate.
82
Look at that.
inches of snow fell at Buffalo International Airport. The normal snow accumulation for the entire winter
My
season is 93 inches, so essentially the city saw almost an entire year's worth of snow in just 5 days. It blew all previous
Wow.
snow records out of the water. What's even more ironic is the previous month, November, was the first November on record that Buffalo saw no snow whatsoever. The city was declared a disaster area, and the
They were
National
not-
Guard was sent in with
That's
bucket loaders
mental.
to help unearth the city. But because it's Buffalo and the people and the infrastructure are well seasoned for an intense winter snowstorm, the entire event only resulted in 2 deaths. About every 5 to 10 years, Buffalo has seen an intense multi-day
Right.
lake effect snow event, and I'm sure you remember
we know
the
it's
one that
coming.
happened this year in November as well. As for a white Christmas this year, we have several systems sweeping through the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region right now.
So this
We'll
is not
see if we get that white
2025.
Christmas.
This is
Real
2023.
quick, I want to thank you guys for all the support this year. I remember we started off the year with
There you
74
go.
subscribers.
He's just
74.
saying thank you.
Well, I mean, he knows
Matt.
his stuff, doesn't he? As I say,
Oh,
I thought
absolutely,
we were just in for some, you know, some shock videos, but no, he gave us all the background info. Now know about the nor'easters
Yes.
and lake effect snow.
Lake effect snow, and you know the fact that a low front and a low air, you know, coming in,
Yeah.
and obviously the warmer air from the Atlantic, and how the easterly and the westerly can cause that, you know, wind across the mountains, mate.
Just like listening to Wincy Willis there, mate.
Yeah, well, one more brain cell may be wobbling it in my brain.
Maybe up to capacity now. Yeah, cold air goes anti-clockwise, warm air goes clockwise. We've learned so much from this young man here.
Yeah, very good.
And,
Nice one, Steve.
You know, there you go. Thank you very much. Worst weather, winter storms of Christmas past. Were you part of those? Do you remember them? Were you involved in them? Did it mess your plans up? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. I'm sure many of you were part of at least one of those storms there, especially from 2024. Sounds like it was 2004. Sounds like it was pretty intense across the middle of the US. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Do come with us at Brits American Tour. We are the sister channel to Britpops React, where we react to all sorts of stuff over there as well. But all American on this channel. And yeah, looking forward to the next one.
All right, wonder where we go next. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in today, and we'll be back soon, won't we?
We will. See you later. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.